And you must make sure that you are covered by workman's compensation. You know, that's one of the great frauds that companies use that end up going out of business and end up in jail. They don't pay the workman's comp to the state, and they don't pay the income tax to the state, and they withhold labor and industries and all those things. They just don't file all that stuff to the state. By not paying that, they've effectively given themselves more cash, but they're violating the law. And eventually, somebody gets hurt on the job, they go into the hospital or to their doctor, and a claim gets filed, and all of a sudden they find this employer has never been paying on that employee. Well, then they're caught. And I do believe in this state they still guarantee you as the employee the right to the benefit. You're not hung out to dry just because your employer was fraudulent and was not paying your fair share on your labor effort. And that's paid by the job category. You know, it's so much an hour is paid on workman's compensation. And about the highest and most dangerous occupation is logging in this state. And about the least dangerous is being a secretary. So a secretary, it might be like 12 cents an hour, and a logger, it might be $3 an hour. Those are not accurate numbers, but that's kind of the range that you're looking at that actually is paid to the state, because they know like 30% of all loggers will have a claim every year. Of all loggers in logging throughout a given year, 30% of them will have a claim in that ballpark. And all secretaries, you know, what's the claim going to be? Very, very slim. Well, the carpal tunnel thing is one of the things that they end up with, you know, and that has an effect. The advent of the computers caused an awful lot of that problem. But you're at much less risk if you're sitting in an office and you're out running a green chain, you know. So in our industry, I would suppose it costs somewhere around $1, $1.50 for a turf specialist or an irrigation installer per hour for workman's comp. It's quite a little bit of money your employer is shelling into the state fund all the time, and that's paying for all the injury expenditures that are happening throughout the year. It's kind of a self-perpetuating, and they adjust the rates according to the industry and according to the employer's record. If you are the employer and you have a very safe operation, you're going to pay at the low end of the premium scale for your occupation. If you have lots of injury claims, you're going to pay on the high end. They even give a range within the categories. And then unemployment insurance is another one that comes in there. I missed that one. But it does happen. And in fact, some of the more seasonal work, you might end up working on a landscape crew and the weather just turns mud for 2 months and you just can't work. So everybody gets laid off for 2 months until it starts to dry out. They'd say, well, it snowed and you got laid off, but usually snow brings on other work, you know. Then you have snow removal that becomes part of your job, and you can pick up work doing snow removal. But the worst around here is when it just gets into soup. It starts raining and won't quit raining, and you're out trying to work in the mud, and sometimes it's just not worth it. You're better off just to say, let's shut her down for a while and come back when it starts to dry out. And so in that period of time, you're going to have people that you laid off that are going to be able to collect unemployment so they can still pay their bills. But you've been paying into the unemployment fund all along to pay for that possibility. And again, if you use it, if your employees are using unemployment, you move up on the scale, you pay more. If you keep them employed all the time, you'll be paying at the bottom of the scale in your area of your category. So they're trying to be as fair as they can at the government level.
The amount that you pay in doesn't offset the amount for that, right?
Well, Dan, yeah, the point is, does the amount you pay in ever balance the amount you collect? Well, look at my case. I paid in unemployment for 30 years now. I've worked for 30 years, never collected a dime. So I'm feeding that fund like crazy for somebody else. And there's other people that might collect 10 times what they ever put in, or 50 times whatever they put in. Well, it all averages out. You know, it's a social program. That's part of living in a society, living in a culture, living in a some kind of a balanced norm where everybody can hopefully succeed and survive when times get tough. And you know, it doesn't bother me that I never collected. I'd rather not ever have to collect it. And I'm glad that it's helped somebody else get through a time when they really needed it. But there always are those people that use the system as well.